Hello, welcome back to 1874. It's time for a walk and talk with myself, Dan Bardell, and the Athletics' Jacob Tanswell, Aston Villa correspondent, of course. Thought we'd try something different today, get ourselves out in the open, go for a walk, and just have a chat about Villa. And of course, you guys have sent in a load of questions on social media as well. I mean, I'm not sure how long my arm's going to last holding this, to be honest, Jacob, but are you well?
I'm all good, thank you. It's nice to be in Sutton Park. Obviously, I used to come here quite a lot actually when I used to live around here, and so it's good to be back actually.
Yeah, we're just in some ex-Aston Villa women's personnel and current Aston Villa women's personnel on our walk through. So as I mentioned before, I asked for some questions and I got some questions. So just get the first one here, Jacob, that's come up is from Dave, AVFC DG, says, are the hierarchy at Villa concerned by the lower attendances at the moment, with the last few games not selling out and the impact on the atmosphere? And if lower attendances continue, are the hierarchy concerned about the impact on revenue with our PSR position?
Yeah, I think every owner's concerned about attendance, especially for a club like Villa, right, who are relying so much on it. We're going to get run over by a bike here.
That's fine.
Because Villa ultimately know their revenue shorter, and one of the ways is to, as we've seen through Chris Heck last season and the year before, is through obviously ticket sales and making sure everything's full out and full. What I will say is that there's been instances, not necessarily at Aston Villa, where chief exec or president of business operations would often tell lies, shall we say, to owners about the actual true attendance. But when there's clumps of empty seats, you can't really escape that. I don't think there's a massive concern yet, but if this carries on, then obviously Nassif Sararis and Wes Edens will have issues with it.
Is it like, does it make that much difference? Because I always think like when the ticket prices go up, I've always said like it's a drop in the ocean really for a Premier League team that's operating at the level Villa are operating at, but it's a big difference to the fans when they charge that extra 20 quid or whatever.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of reasons why it's a big issue. One of the reasons is obviously for revenue, and it's a really easy way to get revenue in, right? You don't have to do much apart from sell tickets. You don't have to go through different creative commercial avenues, which is something that Villa have been lacking under especially Heck's regime. But also for Unai Emery as well, he's a guy that notices empty seats. He said it before publicly, he said it privately before. He wants a full stadium, and so does the owners, especially Nassif Sararis, who goes to more games than Wes Edens does. And it's just optically, it's not a good look, is it, when you're playing in Europe and there's empty seats. But I must say, I've never really noticed like this. There's been too many empty seats.
I look out. I've got to say, I look out for it where I sit in the Holt End. Holt End's always full, whatever. Yeah. But you look up towards the Doug Ellis at the initiatives that came in last season, and a lot of the time there's a lot of empty seats around there.
I would put it down to like the away end not selling the allocation, just because sometimes they have the lowest.
There's those little corporate bits in the middle. Very rarely is that full.
Yeah. And
I always think like, I get that they have to pay staff and whatever, but give those seats to schools or whatever, so it is full. Could you not give a school some tickets for a week if you know you're not going to sell out? I always think there's little things that you can do, and then you've got a full Villa Park. You're getting people in to come into the Villa. It's like almost works twofold, doesn't it? It fills the ground, and then also it encourages people to be Villa fans.
Yeah, I still don't think it's a huge issue. There's so many other clubs that have got more pressing issues than this. You go through, for example, I'll just say, because I know Southampton, when they play Carabao Cup or League Cup or FA Cup games, they have probably 2 stands full, and the rest of the days don't sell. In fact, Villa Park seems to, especially under Emery, seems to have most seats full. So I don't think it's an issue yet, but if this carries on, then of course there'll be attention to it.
Okay. Second one's a bit more of a personal one from the 17th floor. I like this question. Which player in the Villa setup was Jacob most similar to as a player himself? And there's a second part. Which trait from a separate player in the Villa side would have most improved your game? I think I might know what you'll say for the second part of the answer.
There's absolutely no player that's like me, because obviously nowhere near their level. So to even compare myself...
You're a centre-back, so I think you could compare yourself to a centre-back.
Anyway, it's just disingenuous. I'd probably say Lamar Bogard,
Oh, you've just said like it's disingenuous, and then compared yourself to someone who played so well in the last game and actually played in midfield as well.
Because when you look at him, he doesn't obviously look the quickest, but he's very calm and very assured. And I think he's just a good team man. I'm obviously nowhere near that level, but I just try to keep it quite safe. He's obviously more level than me. kind of like to say Pau Torres, but I didn't have to pass.
But would you have liked his passing range, or would you have liked kind of the physicality of Mings, for example? Would that have helped you more?
I think the physicality would have. I was quite tall, but I was always just quite a beanpole, really. So I was better in possession. But I probably would say, actually, intangibly, I would have loved Ezri Konsa's confidence. Really,
I mean,
on the ball and his composure. That would be my trait.
On a separate note, like obviously the England game was on last night and a lot of Villa players involved. Villa player involved in every goal, which was nice to see, considering at the start of the season we couldn't hit a barn door. Players on international duty haven't really missed, have they?
No, and I think it's quite funny, isn't it, really?
Should we go that way?
Yeah, we'll go that way. There's been a lot of criticism of Ollie Watkins and Morgan Rogers, hasn't there? And then they
Score for England.
They score, assist. But those two, you know, people say that they don't play well together. I don't think there's ever a connection between those two. It's more of a structural issue. And there's so much pressure on those two to create. And that was what was great the other day, really, is Donyell Marlon scoring.
Yeah.
That if he can hit 10 goals this season in all comps, then he'll take the load off of Rodgers and Watkins. Because if they don't score, usually you kind of look around thinking maybe a game will chip in. But how many other players, apart from those two, will get more than 5 Premier League goals? And that was that was the concern, really, for me. So it's good to see Marlon, but it's good to see Watkins. Obviously, he needs goals, doesn't he? So if he can get that in international duty, that's great.
Hopefully he's okay after crashing into the post as well.
Yeah.
Obviously he went off at half time. Had to swap arms. My arm was getting a bit tired holding up the camera. Need to get a cameraman really in an ideal world for this kind of thing. Next question comes from Hot Diggity D, who says, this is quite a personal one to you. Again, I quite like that we're getting more personal questions rather than just talking purely about what's going on at Villa at the moment. He says, who does Jacob think about more in his spare time, Villa or Southampton?
That's not even a question.
I'm going to throw your girlfriend into there as well, into the mix.
Well, even if you factor her in, it's absolutely Villa. 100%, it's my job. Southampton I don't think much of now. Obviously I support them, but I'm quite disconnected from it. It's Villa, everything. You know, I'm supposed to have a day off today, and we're doing this.
You didn't tell me that.
No, but it's because I enjoy Villa. You know, and I'll still speak to people every day about Villa. So that's 100% taken my life. Obviously, I've moved here because of Villa.
Yeah.
Girlfriend's now moved here because of Villa. So yeah, that's probably 95% of my life is about Villa. So Southampton's probably 1 or 2% at the moment.
Okay. And girlfriend,
well, the rest of it, so 3%.
What percent do you reckon is Villa through the week? How much of your time is spent work-wise or otherwise on
Generally,
Villa?
it probably impacts every day. So
yeah,
95%.
Yeah, I guess it's the same for me because obviously we can't do content most days. It's very rare that we have days not doing content on 1874. So I'm always thinking about what can I do? Is there anything I can do special today? And then my mind is drawn to Villa quite a lot anyway. A lot of my work obviously is general football, but I still feel like the bulk of it is Villa. So I do think it's a pain for those that are in your life. For my wife, a match day is obviously so long now. Yeah. Because I have to get my dad there early and then getting back and whatever, it takes up the whole day is gone. That's normal for me, but it's probably not normal for her. Yeah. Someone she's with is doing that.
When I was growing up, obviously I was in the academy, so my identity was football and Bournemouth. Now it's just Villa because my whole, obviously for my girlfriend and everything, when we go out during the summer, I'll be on my phone, I might have to take a call. Every day I'm taking calls. On the weekend, she'll be left alone whilst I go out, and there's even times where she'll be at a wedding and obviously I can't go because of Villa. So it's obviously influenced all life, but listen, what a job it is. Yeah. You get to write about Villa.
Can you take the weekend off? If someone's got a wedding, a friend's wedding, would you be able to take the weekend off?
I can if they don't tell you not to. In January I'm going to Canada, so I'm going to miss 2 games.
I'll tell you what, your 1874 annual leave is getting used up pretty sharpish here, Jacob.
So I'll miss 2 games, but I obviously try not to at all. And I love it. Going to games is why you want to be a writer. So that's the best part.
Jacob's getting tired, so we've had to sit down for a segment. We've got Ashley Evans here, says, if any stand is up for renaming in the future, who is the best option to choose?
Well, you can go through them, right? Yeah, you can't change the whole.
No, the whole's not changing, no.
North Star Way.
Do you know what though? You say that, the North Stand. That's an easy one to change.
That is an easy one. Yeah, you're right.
It's just aimed after the direction that the stand is.
No one can take insult, can they, if you name that one, other than, for example, the Doug Ellis.
I feel like the 2 most iconic stands at Villa are the Trinity Road, and obviously the Holton where I sit. So they can't be negotiated with. They're never getting sponsored. They're never getting called anything else. But the other 2, the Doug Ellis one's a bit difficult because he's not here anymore. But he did almost, without being disrespectful, he chose to call that stand that himself. It's a bit like, so you could let's say we're allowed to change a stand each, so you take the Trinity, you take the North stand, I'll take the Doug Ellis, I'll take the hit of getting Doug's family upset. What would you go with?
Well, whatever pays me the most money, really.
Oh, are you talking about sponsors? No, you've got to name it after an ex-player or someone who's got anything to do. I think so. I think that's the question anyway. Might not be what you do, money grabbing Tanswell, but I do think that was what the question was like, who would you name it after?
Yeah, I don't think a player. I think it also has to be like a legendary figure, right?
McGregor, I guess, would be an easier one, the McGregor
Yeah, he's got
stand.
a statue, but his statue's outside the Trinity.
It's still relevant. There's the gas lamp outside the Holt, isn't there, as well?
So probably someone like him, someone that's really like transformative.
It would have to be him. I don't think there's any other option in all of it. I've heard people say about Ron Saunders, the Ron Saunders stand before.
Yeah.
And that's a bit like Tony Barton won the European Cup, didn't he? I thought maybe like Sid Cowans, because he came through the academy and like did the ultimate, but then I guess other players did that as well. But he's always been quite iconic. To me, I've always felt he was an iconic player that played for us like over 2 or 3 stints, was a coach for a long time, that gave a lot of his life to the club. I always thought he'd maybe be one. I think the William McGregor's the obvious one though, isn't it?
It's got a nice ring to it. What I will say is that how often do you see in one of the football do they change the name of a stand to just another player? It will always change.
Obviously the Sir Alex Ferguson stand at Manchester United.
Yeah, well, what was that before? What was that?
I don't know.
Yeah, if I'm thinking PSR, I'm thinking
You just want a sponsor.
give me Adidas or something like that. But yeah, I think McGregor really.
Yeah.
Either from the North Stand or Doug Ellis, but obviously that depends on. I think put it to a fan vote really.
Fan vote. Well, things have been put to the fan vote in the past, and that's not gone great to my knowledge. And fans can't agree on anything anyway, can they? I think the William McGregor stand would. I think that makes the most sense to me.
Can you imagine them saying shooting towards the William McGregor stand?
Yeah, or the Holt end or the William McGregor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I quite like that. There's if you had to choose a player in your time covering Villa to name the stand after.
What, the last 3 years?
Yeah, but still, who would you pick? Who would you pick?
John McGinn. The
John McGinn stand. I mean, I'm trying to think Villa player I'd pick. The obvious answer is always Tails, but then I don't know.
No, but yeah, but I thought we were talking about from the last 3 years.
No, and then I'm going to answer it from a longer term in the time I've been going down. Tails is always the obvious one again because he's such a big supporter and obviously played for the club with such passion as well. And he's the ambassador and he's involved. He's second choice ambassador, isn't he, behind Ahmed Mohamed. He'd have to be Paul McGrath probably. The Paul McGrath stand. I was very young when he was playing, and you focus more on the attackers when you're that young, but you can still appreciate that he was class. He was so unique. Like hearing some of the stories about him. I met him once as well, like so proper humble. Like, I think it would have to be Paul McGrath from my time, even though I don't remember him brilliantly. But I think I'd have to go with him. We've got Yorkshire Villa 1, Mike. Hello, Mike. Says, is there a chance we might go in for Paquetá in January or next summer if Emery is that much of a fan?
Yeah, for
You
sure.
reckon?
Well, Emery has these long-standing interesting players, and his interest never seemed to go away, really, in a lot of players. That's hence why Marco Asensio, Shell Felix are linked all the time. And it's probably around November that Villa and other clubs start to formalise what they want to do in the window, so a couple of months beforehand. But it also depends on the working dynamics of, obviously, Roberto Alabi started Monday, how he wants to structure things, if he's got any guys that he will bring to Emery and say, and Emery actually might think, actually, that would be quite a good alternative. Do you still need to strengthen in that position? Not necessarily, they're quite well stocked at the moment. But I can see Emery still holding a flame for Paquetá for windows that he's available, really. It doesn't have to be January, it could be the summer after that. But again, this is just us hypothesising because it depends on the financial scope, it depends on Paquetá's future, whether he's signing a new contract, whether he's already moved, how much is he going to be worth, if Villa have got a place for him. So, yeah, I can see it happening, and I can see more so Emery wanting him again. But again, all of these things need to be right. And as we saw last summer, things weren't right.
No, if that, like everything was so tight in the summer that it doesn't just magically become untight in January, does it?
No, and this is the way that Villa are at the moment. They've got to manage themselves in most windows and be really clever, and that's why recruitment is so important. That's why you do have to have a turnover squad, because you do have to sell well. And I think they had to sell well actually but then they have to buy well, they have to recruit, and that's the key thing. So, I mean, I am really interested. I think nothing will really change structurally in terms of how they recruit, but they do need to be a bit more clever. Like I wrote that piece last week on Marco Bizzot, right? He's a 34-year-old backup keeper, a couple of £1 million, but it was one of the only signings that was a data-led signing.
And it's been a clever bit of recruitment.
Exactly. So if they can, I'm not necessarily saying data cures everything, but if you can use that to educate and contextualise a signing rather than just go on a whim or one person's preference, then a more collaborative process is probably better.
Would Alabi's, obviously his most recent work was with Sociedad. Do you think he might try and pull some players from there? Because they're quite an interesting club, aren't they? They're not quite the Basque, aren't they, Sociedad? They're not quite as difficult to kind of try and buy from as Athletic Bilbao.
Yeah, but a lot of, we saw Supermendi, it's difficult to get him out because a lot of the time you want to stay at your club, you have a lot of pride. But it's natural for every recruitment or even manager, they will look at their old clubs, right? And one of the things that I found quite surprising with Monchi is I thought he would use the Spanish market more in terms of he's got so many connections in the Spanish market, and I thought he'd be a bit more of ahead of the curve in terms of signing players that are quite young and bringing them in straight away. Oh my word, we got a bargain there. Really, from Spain, obviously Pau Torres was an Emery signing, happened before Monchi, but I don't think they used the Spanish market as well as they could have. Where I think with Alabi, he'll certainly try and tap into it. But again, how much power he gets is down to Emery, so we'll have to see.
Even Moreno actually came in before Monchi, so we actually used La Liga more.
You got Andres Garcia.
Yeah, we've not seen anything of him, have we? He's been injured and obviously had fitness problems. Do you think he'll play a role?
He had a setback. Obviously, he was in the squad against Bologna, I think it was. He had a setback after that. So I think they like him. They think he's improved. I think technically there's still work to do, but he's got all the physicality, he's got the pace. And for a right back, that's probably a lot what you need.
Someone asked about Matty Cash, actually. Here we go, right here. Pearson Tombo, Tom. Says, thoughts on Matty Cash's improvement under Emery's guidance. Much is made of the strides others have made, but I feel like he goes under the radar. He's so much more than the flying all-action fullback he was previously.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point. And I've noticed recently that in every game, he'll make like a critical block, like a real last-ditch block that he comes from nowhere and blocks in. Sometimes when defenders do that, people will say, oh, he's in the wrong position in the first place. But actually, as a defender, I think he's actually come on leaps and bounds in the last couple of years.
I think tactically he's very clever, actually. He knows when to go, he knows when to come back. I think there's times when he's been in poor form where he's kind of gone early and then he's been caught out of position. I think the Crystal Palace game was one. But most of the time, he is very sturdy, he's very solid. And I hope to write a piece either with him or about him if he signs a new contract, because there's a reason why he's been there for a lot of years. The reason why the Milan clubs wanted him last year, they put a bid in for him. Yeah. I think Emery right back is never going to be the most dynamic or the most exciting, but Cash is sturdy, he is reliable, and I think he's got a very good relationship with Ezri Konsa. And I was speaking to someone, one of the players actually, and they were saying that Ezri Konsa's leadership and how he talks through games to the closest right back or left side centre back or midfielder is really important. So I think Cash has benefited from when he has Konsa behind him.
Yeah, I think Cash is oh God, good luck coming under that tree. I think Cash is quite undervalued by the fan base, because I think they want to see like this dynamic right back flying forward, but Villa quite simply just don't play that way. So whoever's playing there, you're not going to see that. And I think defensively, like I said, like he's come on a lot. I would say under Emery. Emery used to berate him like when he first came in, didn't he? Like try and get him to stop going forward. You could see him shouting at him. But now, I think he's built for the way that Villa want to play. And I actually thought, like, obviously we changed the system around a little bit, which we discussed. But have we discussed that? I can't remember if we've done a pod or not since the Burnley game. We have. But like, he could come forward a little bit more because of Bogard being dropping into the back three. So I think kind of been a hybrid of the kind of one, the flying wing back role, or two, the role that generally he's been asked to play under Emery. I thought that it was a hybrid of both of them in the last game, and I actually think that suited him. Yeah, and
he's clever. He can adapt to both roles, and he can. Like sometimes he'll take us more inverted position, sometimes he'll stay high and wide. I think for him, given that Villa haven't got a right winger, you'll probably see more of him pushing high with the right side centre back, being a midfielder. But that's where you've got to see more from him in terms of better crosses into the box, more delivery. We can make the excuses, and we can also add with context that he obviously doesn't go forward. And when he does come back, you might hear groans from Villa Park about Emery's clapping because he wants him to pass back rather than sideways, and that's fine. But when he is told to attack the box and put crosses in, his crosses have got to be of good quality, and that's what you kind of want him to see in the next couple of games if they play that same system.
He's got a left foot arrow cross that he sometimes
Yeah,
does.
I like
the
it.
drill.
It cuts back, diagonal to the back post. I think that's a really good weapon to him. But I just want to see get the ball out of his feet, whip this cross into the near post where Watkins always makes that run.
Whack Rumbold, that's a funny name, has asked about penalty takers. So obviously Villa aren't great at penalties generally since Douglas Luiz has left its felt.
Yeah.
John Duran was okay in fairness, and obviously Rashford actually was pretty decent. But if Villa got a penalty tomorrow and your life was on the line, who would you want to take it? As much as I love Ollie Watkins, I don't think I could trust him with it.
No, not at the moment.
Life on the line here.
Do you know what? A rogue shout. Forgive me if he's already taken one. Every concert.
I don't remember him taking one, but that doesn't mean he didn't take one in that. That was that European game, wasn't there? Did he take one?
I can't remember.
I remember Powell took one.
I like him. I'd always just think in a moment like that, I'd have John McGinn.
He missed against Brentford.
Yeah, but I'd still have him because I just think he'll score his next one. But for me, rogue, Yuri Tillemans, but he missed last season.
He's not got a great record for Leicester either.
Struggling really, aren't you?
I don't know.
Sancho's not good. I don't think he's got a very good record.
I'm trying to think who's a reliable player generally, like Kamara.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Konsa, and I thought,
that's terrible though. That's who you're picking for a penalty, Konsa, isn't he?
Harry Maguire's a good centre half. He takes a penalty well.
Harry Maguire a good centre half, Jacob?
I think he's sturdy. He takes a good penalty.
I want you to get more in front of me. Whilst I try and think.
Luca D?
No. I was going to go Powell, which is as bad as you going Konsa. As bad that is if you're going Konsa and I'm going Powell. I remember him scoring one in Europe in the shootout. I think he's got good technique and I think there's nothing to faze him. I just feel like he's purely just striking a ball from 12 yards. I'd be tempted to go for Powell, you know. That's bad though.
So we're going for two centre halves.
Yeah, that's bad, isn't it? Let us know in the comments who you would go for. That's a really sorry state of affairs, isn't it? Drew Walsh has said, no question, just that Jacob seems like a really good fella and he's good at his job. Very grateful he's covering Villa. Oh. It's nice to get kind words, isn't it, Jacob?
Yeah, of course. That's very nice. It's been a good start to the season, actually. I think we've done pretty well. I think the pieces have been good.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love speaking to people and meeting up with people. So yeah, that's very kind of them. Thank you.
You did your piece, obviously, with Chad, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's come out this week. Great piece. Obviously, we both know Chad pretty well. We've both done pods on his Villa Forever channel before. Just a really inspirational guy, isn't he?
Yeah, it's a privilege to know him, really. And he's probably the person that I've interviewed that had the biggest effect on me of everyone. Really? Yeah, because like I was coming back from Sunderland. I had a punctured tyre, and I was quite late to meet him. I was like 5.5 hours in the car.
Yeah.
I was moaning, I was tired, and then I went round his house. You meet his mum, Rose, and you meet his carers, Laura and Yvonne. You meet Chad, and you think there's nothing for me to complain about there. His support network was unbelievable, but his mindset of how positive he is, how much he's willing to fight, and also to expose himself. Right, he's got such an awful condition. Yeah. But he's never hiding from it. He's so positive. He's a warrior. And I would love to have a semblance of that mentality. I think, yeah, he's, like I said before, he's the most inspirational guy I've probably ever met. And it's an honour to know him, really. I think
loves Villa as well, doesn't he? Like basically, like we were saying about how much of our time he spent like thinking about Villa or covering Villa. Like Chad's probably at the same level as us, really. And given all the like stuff he has to go through to get there and things like that, it's absolutely incredible that he follows them the way he does and does the pod.
Yeah, he's had a big impact on me and everyone around him. He's a wonderful man, and God, he lives a good life as well.
Proper lad as well. He was trying to get me out on the beers on Sunday. He was the other day when he was texting me.
He lives life to the full, as he said. So, yeah, like I say, it's a pleasure to know him and now to call him a friend as well.
Yeah, I'm sure you won't mind me saying this, Chad. He's like, I think I remember messaging him once. I was like, what are you up to? He's like, yeah, I'm just going to spit him in right now. Just what?
Do you know what? He said that in the interview, but I won't include that.
Yeah, don't involve me.
He's got a bar out behind him, and he's got Jack Daniels. He loves that.
He loves a beer.
Oh yeah, it's a wonderful house, and I'll tell you what, his mum's just an amazing woman as well. So I was pleased that the reaction he got and how happy.
I did start to read the comments earlier on in the morning, then I don't think I checked back after that. With lots of comments about it.
Yeah, and we got comments as well from fathers and mothers of who have got children suffering with DMD.
Yeah, it's a horrible
yeah.
illness, isn't it?
But it's just amazing that they commented, and like I say, it's one of the pieces that when I've stopped covering Villa that I'll probably remember.
The Villa, mate.
I'll probably remember more than anything else, actually.
Yeah, what a guy. Like, I've met him a few times. Obviously, I don't know if he still does it, but he did volunteering at the local garden centre.
Yeah.
I've been and had lunch with him a few times and stuff.
Yeah, he works in churches, he does quiz nights, music nights. Yeah, what a man.
Maybe we should go out for the beers with Chad, and then we'll take the camera with us and the mics, and we'll just film that.
He said he's a heavy drinker, so who knows what we get up to.
Yeah, right, Chad, we'll book that in soon, Chad, and make sure everyone that does check out his channel, Villa Forever. I went on Monday, I think it was. Don't check it out because I was on, but just check it out anyway, because amazing that Chad's doing what he's doing. Tell you what, the guy puts me to shame with the production value as well.
Honestly, I couldn't believe it. I sat right at the back. He had a prompter with him. He had a line,
incredible setup,
background. Yeah, his carers act as producers for like 45 minutes. It's amazing, and they care so much about him.
Yeah, they do.
But he's so grateful for them, and yeah, I can't say enough good words about him. I think he's amazing.
I think when my baby comes and I get kicked out of my office, I might have to go and live with Chad. Use Chad's setup to do my shows. Right, next question's from Brett Waldron. I think I actually know Brett. I know a few of his family. It's Auntie Paula. Says, for fans, it's quite unique / reassuring to have a source we can take as gospel in terms of reliability. I don't know where he's going with this or who he's talking about. How long can we expect Jacob to cover the club for, and what's his next step? Is it to cover football entirely, e.g. Ornstein? I will say as well, I look a lot smaller than you currently, but there is a slant on this.
Yeah, I am taller than you as well, though. So
only just. It's tight. I'm 6'1", so I think it's quite tight. You answer Brett's question?
Yes, I will. Thank you very much. I would have, obviously, you can't always be right in every single thing in terms of full extent, but so far
we've done on the floor.
So far, we've done a pretty good job. I don't think we don't. If we know something's, even if we're 75%, we won't put it out. We only put things out that we know 100% right. And of course, if we look, for example, say someone's advancing in a deal, that's true, but it might not happen. That deal might fall through at the last minute, but it's not to say we've got it wrong. But I really enjoy. I think this is my 3rd season, and I find it easier with every season because you get more people know you, more people at the club are more aware of you, what you write, what your motives are basically, and you got more contacts essentially. So, like the other day, I needed contact with someone for Villa. Because I had an existing bank of other contacts, I just asked for their number, and then so it's easy to get contacts and speak to people in the club. And regarding how long I'll be at Villa, again, moved house more to city centre now. My partner's now up here; she's working up here, so I have no plan to move anytime soon. I'd love a couple more years here, at least, but then afterwards, I don't know, maybe a general writer. David Ornstein's more of a transfer guy. I actually don't like doing transfers, to be fair.
Get away from that.
So I wouldn't want to do, he's just elite. I don't want to do anything like that because you can't match him. But I would love to maybe do a general, more profound pieces like the Chad piece, but more wide scale, or go into another sport. I love cricket, so something like that. But I think it's important as a journalist, you don't just rest and just get stagnant. I like to try and see how high I can get, but at the moment, I don't think there's a better opportunity for me than covering Aston Villa.
You're young as well. Like, people might not realise how young you are because you come across. I don't mean this in a bad way. You probably come across as being older and more mature than me, and I'm about 15 years older than you, aren't I?
Tell by dress sense,
well,
mate.
Yeah, well, I'm probably dressed like a 12-year-old, but like, you're actually really, really young. So you've done so much already. Like, you won an award, didn't you? Won like Young Journalist of the Year.
Yeah, and that was obviously luck, but that gave me a bit of a springboard as well. So I'm only 24, so I think most journalists at The Athletic really, when I joined, were 15, 20 years older than me. So yeah. I'm still pretty young, but there's no rush. And while I'm still young, I've got energy, I want to keep going to games. So covering Aston Villa, the biggest club really that I can do in terms of me being the only writer at The Athletic, I love doing it. I love the area, I love talking to fans. I find the club really interesting. So when that dies off, when I feel like I'm just kind of going through emotions, then I'll move on.
Get to do unbelievable podcasting as
well,
of course. Don't you? Like, that's a given. You didn't even need to mention it because it's such a given.
Yeah, goes hand in hand.
The Athletic's a good place to work as well. Like, I think when I started working there, it was like at very early days. I don't think it's kind of was the beast that it is today. Maybe didn't carry the same reputation in this country when I started there in 2019.
That's when it's set up, right?
I think. Yeah, so I was in there at the start, and obviously I've left since and do my own thing. But it's such a cool place to work. Like even when I went there the other day and we did that podcast at the Athletic, I don't think really there's many better places to work because the industry can be quite dishonest. Like I've worked for probably every place that you can work for to some extent now. Like the Athletic's right up there because I think you know where you stand, even though in the end like I ended up leaving, I didn't really want to leave. I knew where I stood, I was communicated with properly, enjoyed like working there for 3 years because there's just so many like amazing people that work there, like covering all the clubs, so many amazing journalists. Like there's no better place to work really.
It's behind the scenes as well, like an editor, the editor-in-chief, the support I get is incredible, and I don't like that Burnley game, for example. I wrote a piece about the 2 number 10s. What other publication would allow me after a game to write something that's not about the game, about the report?
Yeah.
No, not, oh, look at, Donya Martin scoring 2 goals, write a whole report. I wrote something else, and I have the freedom to write, obviously with my editor, but the Chad piece, how many of the national publications would have done something with 1,000, 1,200 words in?
Nah.
Not many, because they wouldn't have room really, and that's not that type of thing, where I think what we can do is we can give a light to people that don't always get heard. So yeah, I can't, like when I say I'm moving to different, I would like to move into different sports and different genres. I'd always want to stay at the Athletic really until something happens.
Yeah, because obviously Greg got the chance to go to Liverpool and cover Liverpool. Completely understand why he did that, because Liverpool are obviously a global club for your career. That's really good. And Greg maybe like he'd done the Midlands patch like for
that's the thing.
For a long time, hadn't he?
Yeah.
So then
10,
going to do
years.
Liverpool, but what you've just said has kind of hit me, that Villa's probably the biggest club that the Athletic cover that's only got one journer. That's actually really interesting. Like Newcastle have got multiple. I think Tottenham have got multiple. Everton did have. I don't know whether they still do.
Yeah,
now.
only one now.
But that's a valid point, really.
Yeah, and that's why I want to stay here. And I have huge respect to those journalists that cover a club for 30, 40 years, because that's what they want to do. They want to base themselves there. But I would love to just see how far I can get until people realise and I bottom myself out. But I give it. Definitely, I've no plans to move. I've moved and I really love living here, so definitely a couple more years.
And obviously we spoke about your 1874 annual leave. If ever you were to leave covering Villa for the Athletic, it's at least 3 months' notice. You'd be at least on a 3 months' notice period, I would say. Right then, so that's it for today's podcast. Hopefully you've enjoyed this kind of different format. Jacob and I walking around Sutton Park, it was where we were, just talking about Villa and answering your questions. I haven't really got a sponsor for this show, but if you can check out Match Bingo and you can check out NordVPN and the other sponsors, Luke Roper, and use our codes and use our addresses, URLs, then that would be absolutely brilliant. But for now, Jacob, you'll be you say you're going away. Have I imagined that?
In January.
That's miles away. We don't need to worry about that. Let us know in the comments if there's anything you would like to see on the channel in the future. But for now, hopefully you enjoyed that. Take care, and as always, up to Villa.